Hey there beauties, it's your girl Kristen here. I'm a licensed esthetician, a freelance makeup artist, a YouTuber now, a mom. Make sure you scroll through my channel and see what I'm about. I've been doing new videos for you guys every Monday night, so you're gonna wanna be subscribed to me, especially if you're also a solo esthetician, or maybe you're aspiring to work for yourself one day, maybe you're in beauty school, or maybe you just love skincare. All of that works here. Join the family. I love how much this channel is growing. It's making me really excited to make this stuff for you guys. In this video, if you clicked on it, props to you. That probably means you're serious because we're going to be talking about taxes, and taxes is not a very fun topic. It's very boring, so I'm going to make this short and sweet as much as I can, but I just wanted to make this video because I know we're rolling up onto tax season. I just opened up my business about 7 months ago, and so I've been kind of learning along the way. So disclaimer, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a business advisor. I'm just speaking purely off of my own experience opening up my own space for the first time. There are some habits that I did create this past year that I was really glad that I did, because coming up onto actually filing these taxes, it can be a lot of work if you put it off on the back burner. So I'm gonna give you some tips to kind of keep yourself organized and to kind of know what to expect. So if you're somebody who maybe wants to open up their space one day, you're gonna wanna make sure you watch this so that you can, know what to expect. This is gonna be a video all about self-employed tax tips. And then at the end of the video, I'm also gonna be announcing the giveaway winner for the giveaway that I did a couple of videos ago. So if you wanna see the winner and if you wanna hear all these tax tips, then make sure you continue watching. Alright you guys, let's get into this tax talk. So, Uncle Sam knocked on my door, said, hey, 2020 is over, where's my cash? Maybe this past year, maybe some of you are thinking, man, I should have been more on top of this. How do I stay organized? So hopefully this video is gonna help you for 2021 taxes as well. But if you're somebody who is filing already for 2020, then this video is going to be great for you too. So make sure you watch to the very end, and I'm going to keep reminding you because I can see when you guys fall off, okay? Anyways, I feel like I haven't been here in a while. I actually was watching my niece and nephew for a week while my brother and sister-in-law enjoyed a little trip. So I went and I pre-recorded a couple videos for you guys so that I could stay on track. And so I feel like it's been forever since I've been in this room to film a video. Probably the first time you guys are seeing, my hair looking like this. I'm still getting used to it, but let me know what you guys think of it. I'm trying to decide, like, should I keep it or should I go back dark? I don't know. Anyways, so let's get into this. Again, not a very exciting topic, but if you guys haven't already checked out my other video that I did in my Before You Open a Salon Suite series, I dove into the tax topic in that video, and I'll make sure I link it up here for you guys. Make sure you watch that because that is going to be kind of about the basics, what you should know before you open up your own space, what it takes to be self-employed as an esthetician, and kind of what things you're able to write off, and the difference between an LLC and sole proprietor. Of course, if you watch to the end, I'm going to be addressing some of your questions too. So even though I've already made a video about this, this video is going to kind of reiterate some of those things and talk about new things. First and foremost, let me open up my notes here. Okay. So first, I just want to give you some general tips. I actually went and I talked to a loan officer. A loan officer is somebody who helps to finance homes, and we went and we chatted over the phone because I'm a planner and I see myself working for myself for a long time. So if that's you too, and you plan to own property at some point, this is going to be really helpful information for you. If you want to build your credit and you want to own property someday, you are going to want to have 2 years worth of tax returns and a great credit score, and you're also going to want to build a really good down payment. With those things in mind, my loan officer advised me that because I'm a baby business, I haven't been open for barely a year, she gave me a really good tip that I took action on immediately. So I'm going to give this tip to you, and that is to create a business account. And I do kind of wish that I would have done this right when I opened up my studio. Your personal bank account, it gets a little tricky. So, you have your own personal expenses, you're gonna have business expenses. Looking at owning a home one day or owning property one day, they're gonna wanna look at those accounts. And if you have them just so black and white, like, okay, this is my card that I spend personal expenses on, and this is my card and account that I spend business expenses and my income is coming in, you're able to just look at that account and say, okay, cool, like all of that money is verified for your business, nothing else. Income that's coming in, it's not linked to your business, they're gonna wanna look into those accounts. To keep it simple, you're better off just having a business account, and it just makes it easier for you at the end of the day. So actually, I opened up a business debit card. You can open up a business credit card that would help to start to build credit for your business. But what I really like about it is that it just kept everything separate. So if I have to buy more disposables, if I have to buy more skincare products, I know that I'm going to be using my business card and directly taking funds from my business income. It's a huge tip that I was so glad that that lady gave me. And I had already kind of knew that, but to hear it from somebody else that is an expert at getting people loans for their homes, and that for me is a big goal of mine, it really sunk in differently. And another tip that the loan officer gave me was saying that when your income is being looked at by potential banks that are going to loan you money, they are going to be looking at your net income. And what I mean by net income is your gross, which means all of the money that's coming in minus your write-offs or your expenses. That number is going to be the net number of your income. So say you made $100,000, but you wrote off $50,000 worth of expenses, then it's going to look like you made $50,000 to the government and to these places that you're going to be applying for loans and whatnot. With that being said, if you do hope to own a property one day, don't nickel and dime every dang thing, especially if you're a baby business. She said if you're hoping to be able to purchase a home within the next 2 or 3 years, then only write off the things that you deem absolutely a business expense. So if you go and buy a piece of gum and you happen to be on your break at work, I mean, do you really need to write that off? Not so much. So keep it to the larger expenses. Don't nickel and dime everything, because they're going to be looking at that net income for future home loans, for future any type of loan. If you already own a home and you don't have that to consider, then fine, write off your expenses. But I'm just speaking about my own personal journey that I'm going through right now, and that is one of my goals. Hope that's making sense. Comment down below if you have any questions, of course. Okay, so the other tip I would have for you is to make sure you get a CPA, or certified public accountant. I had actually never had one prior to this year. I had always filed on my own through H&R Block online. But I figured this year, since now I own a business and things might be a little bit more complicated, that it'd be good to get advice from a CPA. And he's been super awesome. He is a referral that I had through a client of mine that I went to high school with, actually. And he's super cool. He kind of advised me through the whole pandemic situation. Like I said, I'm not a tax expert. I don't know everything, so it'd be good to get somebody that knows what the heck they're talking about, because they're going to be able to guide you. And my last tip, which is probably the most important tip to save yourself the stress and the anxiety, to keep track of your expenses and to do something on a weekly basis to manage that. I'm gonna share with you exactly what I do, and I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I did that, because now with tax season coming up and I had to kind of gather some things for my CPA, I was able to do that a lot more quickly. You know, I want to do it even faster, so I'm hoping this year I'll be a little bit more on top of it. Still was able to gather my things for him pretty quickly. What I do is gonna be really helpful for you, and again, what works for me might not work for you, so take it with a grain of salt. I just have a certain way to keep organized, and it seems to work. The reason why I say do it on a weekly basis is because even if you do it on a monthly basis, that's 30 whole days that you need to go back and like think about. Things just start getting really unorganized. Like, I started having this huge pile of receipts on my dresser. Like, oh my gosh, like I cannot let a whole month go by and not enter in these receipts, because then once the time comes, it gets kind of daunting. I feel like it's more manageable. It's in bite-sized pieces, which on a weekly basis seems to be doable for me. You know, there might be a one-off here and there that you go on vacation or you get busy, and that's fine. You know, do 2 weeks worth, but I would not let it go past that 2-week mark, because it's just going to become more and more of a task for you. The smaller and the more doable it is, the easier it is to do and to be consistent with. So how do I keep track? And I know that this was one of the questions that I got on Instagram. I have an Excel spreadsheet, and if you don't have Excel, which I don't either, do it on Google, and they actually have a equivalent to Excel on Google Docs. Let me grab it. Okay, so this document is called a new spreadsheet. So you're gonna open up a new spreadsheet, and I labeled it 2021 income, or if we're talking about last year, I labeled it 2020 income. I track my cash, and if you've seen my opening and closing procedures video, I showed you exactly how I track that, even down to a daily basis. I want to make things as easy for you as possible. So if at the end of your workday you're able to write it down or keep track of it somehow, to track what cash came in that day, what sales you made that day, what retail products you sold, that's going to be really helpful for when you get to your weekly time to do this. You are going to be able to pull up that paper, or for me, I take a picture of it with my phone and I enter all of this into my spreadsheet. I enter in my cash, I go onto Venmo, and I tally up all the transactions that took place on Venmo and whatever other vendors that you use for payments. So whether that's Square, Stripe, PayPal, put it all on this spreadsheet, and you're gonna wanna just do columns. So you're gonna total that all up for the week. And then in order to calculate the amount of taxes that you're gonna take out of that money, you're gonna wanna multiply that number by 0.25, which is equivalent to 25%. And at the end of the day, if you ended up saving more than you were supposed to, then you're gonna have a nice little chunk of savings left over. That will calculate the taxes for that week. What I do is I go into my bank account and I transfer that amount directly into my savings account. So that money is not being touched, that money is not being spent on expenses, nothing. It's just going away. It's out of my sight. If you are somebody who is trying to save up a down payment or save for something, it's always good to have an emergency cash fund for your expenses, and go ahead and do that same calculation, but do 10 to 20%. The reason why, again, I like to do on a weekly basis is because if I had to go and transfer that huge amount at the end of the month, I'd be like, ooh, that's a lot of money. So, and sometimes you get kind of sidetracked and you're like, oh, well, I have this money, I can go and buy those products, or I can go and do that. And then you ended up spending more than you should. On a weekly basis, it's just gonna keep you accountable. It's gonna keep you disciplined, so that when tax season comes around and they're like, hey, you owe 15 grand, you're not gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be like, okay, cool, I already set that aside. I'm telling you guys, do this, please, because I know somebody else who's in the industry and they did not track their receipts, they did not track their income, nothing. They ended up owing $18,000 and are still paying that off, and that was 2 years ago. Don't let that be you. And what I also track for tax reasons is the retail products that I sell. I have a seller's permit. So if you're able to get a seller's permit for your state, then that exempts you from being charged taxes by the places in care lines that you buy from. You're gonna have to pay taxes, but you still do have to pay those taxes. On a quarterly basis, you have to go onto the government website, whatever that is for your state, and you have to pay a quarterly tax for whatever products you ended up purchasing or selling, and those products didn't get taxed. I actually go and I tally up all of the retail products that I sold, including the amount that it was sold for, and then I calculate the sales tax based off of my city. Whatever I total up for the week is what I calculate that tax off of, and then I go and I transfer that money into my savings account, so that when that quarterly tax comes up, I'm able to just pay it off and it's not even gonna hurt me. I hope that makes sense. But that's what I do on a weekly basis on my own in my own spreadsheet. And then what I also do is I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a feature that you can purchase and pay monthly for. You can link up basically all of your bank accounts to QuickBooks, and if you take my advice and you get a business account, then you can just solely link up your business account. Because I didn't have the business account last year, I had to go and categorize everything. So it's just gonna make your life so much easier if you just do the business account, okay? QuickBooks is really amazing. It allows you to just snap a photo of your receipt, and it just goes and automatically matches that transaction up with the receipt. I do enter in those receipts weekly, and also on QuickBooks, you're able to have it log your miles. You can allow it to track your location, which I know some people are a little, sketched out about. It's gonna make my life easier instead of having to manually write down, how many times I went to work and how many miles and all that. It's just gonna automatically track that. And then you go in and you just have to categorize it as business or what it was for. Okay, so that's just like a rough explanation of what I do to keep track of myself. If you do decide to do the virtual training with me about, you know, opening up your own business and whatnot, I'm going to be giving a template for you to enter in your stuff. But if you're Excel savvy, all you really have to do is just tally up everything in columns and do some math and you're good to go. Now let's talk about the filing part. Some of you have asked, are you a sole proprietor or are you an LLC? Right now, I'm a sole proprietor, which means all of my tax filing is going to be under my social security number. The reason why I've decided to stick being a sole proprietor is because it's kind of expensive to be an LLC. You have to pay a huge fee every year. It can be a little bit more complicated. You're gonna have to get a DBA, or doing business as name. You're gonna have to file for a tax ID number. It's just this whole long process, and it's worth it to do if, in my opinion, you hire people or you have multiple businesses under you, multiple locations, you're contracting other estheticians. That is when I would advise being an LLC. Being a sole proprietor, the only thing I'm missing is just that layer of protection that an LLC gives you, which keeps business and personal separate. In the case someone sues you or file bankruptcy, your business would be sued and not you personally. I'm not anticipating that necessarily. I'm knocking on wood right now. I don't think my business is that large yet to have to make an LLC, but that is something I am going to talk to my tax guy about. So when I get that info, I'll be sure to pass it along to you. But that's just my research that I've done on my own via Google. But I am a sole proprietor and it seems to be working out just fine. I'm going to pull up the email that I sent to my tax guy, and I'm going to share with you what exact forms I had to submit to him. QuickBooks actually generates this particular report. It's called the Profit and Loss Report. Obviously, my profit and loss wasn't that great because of my first year in business. I had a lot of expenses, buying, new equipment, paying for products. It wasn't as profitable as some would think it would be because your first year in business, you're having to invest a lot of money. This basically just shows the business income minus the expenses. The report basically shows him what income came in, which included all of the entities that I mentioned: Venmo, Square, Cash. Well, no, I didn't enter in Cash. He said just don't mention the cash. It also lists the expenses. So throughout the year, when I went and I entered in my receipts and all that, it had me categorize whether the expense was business, and then a subcategory under business, and I'm just going to read this list for you guys: advertising, car and truck, commissions, contract labor, entertainment, equipment rent and lease, insurance, interest paid, legal and professional services, loan principal, materials and supplies, meals, office expenses, other business expenses, rent and lease, repairs and maintenance, travel expenses, utilities. So those all were considered expenses. That was for 2020, and for 2021, I already know that number is going to be a lot better. That report I had to give to him. Then I also had to give him tax forms for my student loans. So I did get my bachelor's degree. I did have to submit tax form for my student loan, which was the 1098E. And it actually shows how much interest you paid for that year. What else did I send him? Square. Okay, so the thing about Square and Venmo and those kind of merchants is they will give you a form called a 1099K, but only if you made $20,000 or more, or if you had 200 transactions. I did get a form from Square, but I did not get one from Venmo, and I did not get one from other entities because I didn't make that much on those merchants. Also had to submit my W-2s because I was partially employed last year through the spa I was working for. And then I also had to submit some forms for health insurance. So I did have Covered California and let's see, the 1095B. So I had to submit that for myself and my son. There's also one more because I did have to get onto Medi-Cal during the pandemic. 1095A. You can access online. And then for the Medi-Cal form, I got that in the mail. So make sure you should have already gotten that for 2020. All these forms too would be a great idea to print them out or to make copies of them. Don't give your tax person the actual physical copy of it, give them a copy of the original, and then put it into an accordion file and put it away. And I also did get a form called the 1099-G, which was the form that summarized what I received from unemployment. I sent that in last week, and my tax guy said he was going to get back to me if I needed anything else, but I think I covered everything. So if I did miss something, I will definitely make sure to comment below and pin my comments so you guys can see if there's anything additional that is going to need to be filed. Really, really glad that I kept track of my stuff weekly, because I still had things at the end of the day that I needed to like categorize, that I needed to find the receipt for. And also, if you are somebody who purchases a lot of things on Amazon and things online, you're not going to actually have that physical receipt. So you need to go and get those invoices and screenshot them, whatever, and then enter it into your QuickBooks, or print them out and have a physical copy. Yeah, again, this is not a very exciting topic, but I hope what I said was helpful for you, and it has most definitely been helpful for me to follow that. Let me go and enter in the names for this giveaway. Ooh, 88 comments. Ooh, okay. I'll be right back. Let me enter these in. Whoa, that took a while. No, it's all good. Guys, I'm sorry I get so busy and I don't even get the chance to really look at all of your guys' comments, but just being able to look right now at all of your love and your support, it means so much. It puts a huge smile on my face. And to see that there's 70 entries for this, that is incredible. So I have it all entered in here, all 70 of you guys who took the time to comment below on that video. Let's see who wins this cucumber hydration toner. So I'm gonna click spin here. Alyssa Silva. Woo! Alyssa! Make sure you contact me. I'm going to put my email down below for you, or you can message me on Instagram and we will figure out a way to get that cucumber hydration toner to you. So congrats to you for winning that. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I know this video was not super exciting, but it's definitely needed, and we are in this together. Again, I know I've mentioned this a couple times already, but check out on my Instagram March 1st. I'll be making my announcement. Thank you again. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and of course, I will see you guys next week with some new content. Bye.